It's Monday and you know what time that is. The next Dev Diary has just dropped and we are going to look at traffic AI today. Just to go right into it, we have 4 main factors that influence traffic AI, and this is completely changed from the first game. So it's a huge step up and it's super interesting. I'm going to talk you through this today because there's not that much new to see, but that much new to learn. So let's jump right into the 4 factors. So the first one is actually being time. So actually the time that you require to get from one point to the other. Let's just stay on that screen here for a moment, this insane high-rise mid-town that we have over here. So time is actually the one deciding factor, 1 of 4, so 25% of the decision making goes into the time. So the less time it requires to go from A to B with a certain, element of traffic, either it's going to be your car or it's the bus or whatever, will influence. The second one is basically comfort, which is super cool because everyone wants to do individual traffic, don't they? Right? Yeah, I want to go in your car or not, or you want to go into a bus or you want to go into a train. That's definitely something that is different in terms of comfort. So you are going to prefer naturally what is your highest comfort. However, comfort does not always go in line with the third factor, and that is money. Well, actually costs, I should say. And I find it very interesting. They call these factors costs of traffic, which is interesting because time is obviously a cost factor if you want to add that in a realistic way. I love the way how they shape this up, but it's actually the third one is basically money, so the fees, the actual cost that you will need to spend on going from A to B. So, and this is also, they did not really confirm if there are electric vehicles in here, but I'm going to let the video play in the background. In a second, you'll see that there will be actual electric vehicle parkings. We have already thought about that in the last video, and it's actually in. This time around, we have a very good indicator. So that will also add up another pattern if you want to fuel your car or you want to load your car or charge your car. This is obviously less, but also going by bus would be less, and tram, and so on and so forth. The fourth factor, and the last one in line, is the behavior. That one is very interesting because with behavior, they really mean how you personally do behave. You know, what is your preference? Are you a good driver or are you not a good driver? Is your preference to go by train or not? So every person, every sim written with the, every individually animated a human being in this game comes with a different treat, and then these treats add up to their personal preference if they want to go with a specific vehicle or something like that. And these 4 together, these 4 combines will actually shape the traffic, and this is super cool because that is going to make up for a bit more of a control because you do know these factors now. It's not like a random AI. It's basically now a certain element that you can control because you know exactly what this is. One other specific thing which I found super interesting, and that is something that we learned in the behavior pattern is, and there you go, I'm gonna stop the video over here because this is the confirmation for the EV charging, and it seems like you can actually change and upgrade your parking lots to add these EV chargings. As you can tell over here, we've got the charger in the middle, and we've got 4 spots where people can charge their EVs with that little electric lightning bolt over here that shows you where. I'm a bit intrigued to how they will do this because, from a standpoint of, feasibility, these are not very much placed in the right order. But, I think it's very interesting to have that. But what I was just about to say is that people can actually reroute when they see there is a traffic accident. And yes, accidents are again confirmed. And they are going down to the environmental influences. So is it night and rain is basically the worst you can have, where while as daylight and a good road is not that much of a problem. But if the people do stuck in a traffic jam, they will basically reroute. Let me just skip through to show you the point. And this is one other hint you can see now in a second. They will definitely also do some U-turns over here in a very illegal way so that they can reroute and have a faster way to even save fuel. So fuel saving is a thing in this game, at least in the simulation. And so that's very interesting. So you have to offer the people, and this is what I meant. This one is stuck here in an accident. You can see the car over here flipped over. There's already the the fire truck and so on, there's the police, and so this dude over here is just doing a turn and rerouting its own simulation, which then ends up in a new calculation where it's going. So very interesting stuff, and they can also do accidents, even though this one is a very specific one over here. It seems like as if a flat spot on the tire occurred, or like a, you know, a puncture appeared, and then you have got the traffic accident will cause some things to happen. Obviously it's going to trigger the police and the fire truck to come, but it will also require a road maintenance to be sent out, so you also have to take care of that you have enough road stuff ready, as you can tell over here, that the maintenance car is first of all available, and second of all close by, so that the road is maintained in a fast manner, and then you can go on with your simulation, and also the simulation itself can run, which I think is beautiful. And this adds up to, well, being able to run a way higher amount of people in a dense city, and you can tell you still get a very nice overview of the area, and also including your traffic. So you do have the traffic overview. I'm just going to keep this real quick over here. You've got a road stuff over here, and you can also see that we have a parking facility availability over here, and you can see this is pretty neat. And we've got parking lots, we've got maintenance depots, we've got road maintenance vehicles, so everything is displayed. But as we go on, you can see in a second that we also have a traffic overview, and this one is pretty interesting. This seems to be a very balanced city over here, so good job, $2.20. It's relatively high with like over 60% traffic flow, so it's good. However, it's not really changing according to the time of day, so that's interesting. It's normally changes, but this seems to be a very lively city also at night, so that makes sense. So yeah, you have this overview where you can see, but also there's a second one where you can click on the road itself and then see if it's working good or not. So the road condition over here, as you can see, is a little bit poor, so this one has to be maintained rather quickly in order to keep it running, which is another point of realism which I do love quite a lot. This will be rather challenging. One more thing I just wanted to show you, and let me just search for that one frame, which I found very interesting, and I'm gonna go to this frame real quick if I do find it quickly, because there's also, there you go, you can also change over here, as you can see, you can change the parking fee, which then will either give you more money in the city, or at the other hand, obviously at the cost of people having a problem to park, you know. And then if they have a problem to park, you can obviously then make people use the train more often, while people would take the car less because parking is too expensive, at a cost of comfort and their personal preferences maybe, and make them more unhappy. So, you know, this is something very much interesting, that you can steer the stuff like this. However, one thing I want to mention over here is this is super realistic, because we have non-electric vehicles parked on the electric vehicle spot, because this seems to be very cramped parking lot over here. I still haven't seen specific electric vehicles in here, so maybe this is still not in the game, maybe, I don't know. But as we look over here, you can see this is a parking lot without an EV charging, for example. So this seems to be modular in a way, because we've seen that there are not that many parking lots available, but like as items in the game. But over here, this is also parking of a hospital, as it seems, and you can also add these things to a hospital. Maybe this is also going to make the buildings itself more relevant to people, and just adds up to the rating of a building. The more EV charging you have, makes it more comfortable for those people having an EV to go here. So very interesting stuff, that you can control your city like that. But other than this, there is not really that much more in this video. I mean, this is quite a chunky information for us, that the traffic AI is divided into these 4 main factors, which I absolutely love. It is really cool to know exactly how it's working, and this will make you a bit more in control. I gotta say though, that in the first cities, I never felt in control of the traffic. It was always like a trial and error, and then at some point you solved it, but you never knew exactly why. So that is something I hope it's going to be very much different in this game. And also, via a comment under the video, we can also say, yes, all lanes will be used. The AI is now capable of taking all potential shortcuts, but also all potential lanes in order to, you know, reduce the amount of time they require and also reduce the, for example, the, you know, traffic, like the traffic cost, but also to avoid the longer distance. But sometimes they will even take a longer distance in order to avoid traffic, which is also pretty cool, that they not always go for the shortest route, but they go for the most quick route, which is super interesting. And over here you can also see how a traffic jam is caused, you know, by the cars just all joining at the same time. And it's very interesting to see, and you can also take care of these things. Really interesting stuff. I am much looking forward to seeing that really in action, because obviously a video like that can always, you know, explain that in a nice way, and you always hope that it's going to turn out exactly this way. But I have high hopes that this will be a lot better, at least from what I'm seeing. And yeah, let's see how this actually ends up in the game. And don't let yourself be fooled by the graphics, I guess, because this is all very close up, something that I personally never did that much in Cities 1 anyways. So you enjoy the whole game from a bit farther away. I must say though, and this is something I have already said in the last video, man, I guess they should tune down the color variations or the color variants of the cars. I mean, it's good that we have more variants now, apparently, but they're a little bit too colorful for my taste. I think this should be a thing that is very easily adjusted, but still, I kind of, you know, think it would be nice to have a bit more toned down version of it, more realistic, because, you know, unfortunately people are not as creative as it seems, and people just love to take cars that are either white, black, or whatever, silver. I think these are the most famous colors for cars ever. And yeah, that's that. So there's not really that much more to talk about. I just want to go to one more screen just to have that huge city overview. There you go. I love this overview. It's so cool. You can really see how the traffic flows. Really nice stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick overview. Today it's not that much of a deep dive because there's a lot of things we already knew, we've already seen. So I'm really looking forward to next week's Dev Diary, because there should be something new in there for us. But before we end the video, it's actually important to look at the Dev Diary that is written down. It's a whole bunch of text. Yes, let me accept these cookies for you. And not only do I accept the cookies for you, I also will guide you through this wall of text, and you don't need to read it yourself. You can though, maybe you find something I missed. Most of it we've already covered in the video analysis, but there are a couple of little caveats in here that you may have not known if you only watched the video. You know, we are a generation of very short attention spans, so it's actually pretty likely that you haven't. But yeah, anyways, let's go to the path funding costs first of all. These are the four we have already talked about, but there's one more info to you. So for teens, the most important factor is money. For adults, value time, and seniors prefer high comfort. So you can also understand that as if where you want to guide people, so if you want to have a lot of teens in your suburb, make sure to have like, you know, the most cheapest traffic to go there, or like the cheapest transportation to go there. While with seniors, they can also live outside of the city as long as they have high comfort to get into the city. They don't care about the time, so really cool stuff. But the path funding also has a huge influence onto your overall money values or costs in general, because the longer time takes for ships to arrive and to go, the higher the costs for all of your companies, because they need to pay more for the goods, because obviously they need to pay more for the transportation costs. So that is a super interesting factor, to be honest, that we didn't have in the game previously, and I really love to see that. Lane usage I've already talked about, but maybe just to give you a bit of a better understanding, they can first of all use multiple lanes. That is a huge win at this point, but also they will overtake slower cars, and they will also try to come up with a better lane usage in order to shorten their route, as I said. So they will also make room for emergency vehicle by switching to other lanes when possible, which may then cause some more traffic as well, as you can imagine, as it is in real life. This screenshot over here is absolutely legit insane. This is a suburb, and you can actually make this now, because obviously people will be able to travel into your city. And as I said, if these are more adults or seniors, they will not worry too much that this is like a huge time to go there. But it's super interesting. But let's read out this real quick, because this is interesting, because we're talking about performance as well. So let me just read out this small bit over here to give you the idea. So the traffic simulation is complex in Cities Skylines 2. In addition to calculating their path, all vehicles and pedestrians take into account all nearby agents at all times as they navigate the streets and pathway in the city. The agents make decisions affecting traffic flow multiple times while traveling, separate from the pathfinding decision. These include accelerating along the traffic, braking to slow down, avoiding oncoming traffic when making turns, switching lanes to optimize traffic flow, and making pathfinding decisions when an unexpected event such as a traffic accident occurs in the route originally planned. As I said, they will change it according to what's happening in the environment. This means pathfinding calculations are more numerous and more in-depth than in City Skylines, as the agents have more features affecting their decisions. However, the calculations are more efficient, resulting in a higher performance across the board, as pathfinding and simulation, among other calculations, take advantage of all available processing power of the multi-core CPUs. That is something very important, because imagine this game is so old, like the original game, that it did not really make the most of all the modern day CPUs. So even though you had a computer on which the game may have not run that nice, it wouldn't be necessarily your CPU. It might have been also that Cities is not taking advantage of the structure of how a CPU nowadays works. So this is very good to know that they have multi-core CPU support in that way. Also, as a major improvement for the first Cities game, the series Skylines does not feature hard limits for agents moving about the city. Overall, the performance of the simulation and pathfinding is vastly improved, which means larger populations are possible. Yay! The only real limits to the simulation are the hardware limitations on the platform running the game, as you may already have guessed. So roundabout behavior is something really interesting as well, that they will also look for the spot where to go, and they do plan which lane to go, obviously according to where they go, as like a planned route. So they take advantage of an opening, and even, you know, they try to go to the middle when you have to go all the way around, stuff like that. Traffic accidents will appear, and as I already said, it's also down to how your roads are A, structured, and B, how the condition of the road is, including obviously the season and the weather effect. So makes sense that this is also interesting to first of all to note, and also to overcome by planning your A routes and roads and stuff like that better, but also to plan your departments better, where you put down the road maintenance department. So all these things into account. Parking, this is another very, very sweet screenshot over here. Many people have asked us already how multiple store parking would look, but this is like a very nice parking lot. I must say though, I really dig the model. It's a super gorgeous parking lot model, I should say. I was really fearing something more ugly, but this one looks super dope. Not gonna mention how cool that is to have them all parking in here. I haven't spotted an EV parking in this one, but I'm very sure there is one in here. So really, really cool. And also you can see that you can also have different parking fees in here, because that is a closed off one via, versus the open ones, for example. You can set this differently. So really, really cool stuff. Info views we already covered, so nothing too new over here. As you can tell over here, there is another overview. So check condition of your roads and find your road maintenance vehicle within road info. You can see there is a vehicle mentioned over here, and the road is green, so that is kind of cool. And then, oh my god, this is also, I haven't seen that picture in detail. Another interesting road accident. These two cars merged together. Interesting stuff over here. But the service vehicles also will be going here to make sure everyone is secure. You can see an ambulance over here, and necessarily there would also be something else coming. So other vehicles give way if possible, so emergency vehicles can reach the destination faster. I mean, this one reached it already, so very interesting. I think this smart over here just made space. Traffic between other cities. The game also features traffic between other cities from one outside connection to the next. This traffic does not contribute to the city's economy, but traffic can become part of the overall traffic flow as the city grows and the highways integrate into the network. I think this is pretty similar to how it has been in the first. Now, as everything is covered, I hope you guys are happy with what we've done. So yet again, a big thanks to all of you following my updates, following the updates of the game. I really hope you guys enjoyed this really a lot. I did enjoy this a lot. I hope you guys are looking forward to the game as much as I do. And if you do so, you can check the link in the description where I have my instant gaming link, and you can get the game early on. You can bookmark it or already pre-order with a good discount, so that would be really cool. Also, yeah, that's that. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to greet you again in the next one. Until then, have a wonderful week, stay safe, and goodbye.